It's time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online for all your web design needs at sonicwebstudios.com. The Mike Wagner Show brings you interesting people doing interesting things all across the globe. Now, let's get started on the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Hey, it's Mike Wagner and the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. If you're looking for a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com, also on the Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. Also heard on SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, and take the Mike Wagner Show wherever you go. Okay, we had this gentleman on before talking about his book, Memoir of a Nobody. He's also had some great experience for The Tonight Show, also headlined a number of acts throughout the country, and we're here to continue talking about it. He also has some other books, and of course, a very, very big review from a big company. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, the pride of Los Angeles, and I'm sure Johnny Carson would be proud by now, Steve Bluestein. Steve, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us once again.
Oh, thanks. I hope I can live up to the intro.
I thought you could do a better one than I did. I dare you to do it next time you hit the road.
It was great. I don't deserve it.
Well, that's why you got the book, A Memoir of a Nobody, but we'll make us something out of it. Of course, you've been a comedian and writer for a number of years, and you come out with a book called Memoir of a Nobody. We talked about the book and how it's evolved, how you got started and everything. And first, before we get a little more into the book, tell us all about the book once again. What inspired you to write the book?
Well, I was having a really miserable day at my house, and the garage door had collapsed on my car, and the carpenter got trapped inside and he couldn't get out, and in the middle of all this, the phone rang, and it was Carol Propp, who was the casting director. She cast the Tonys, and she and I had worked on a show together, so we were friends. So she said, "Hey, Steve, how's it going?" And I started telling her about what was going on, and she was laughing hysterically, and she said to me, "You have to write a book." And like a light went on in my head that this is a great idea. And so I sat down that day and I began writing, and I wrote for 3 years.
Wow.
Every 5 days a week. And the book, it started off telling things that were happening, my funny stories that happened in my life. Then it moved into opening act, being the opening act for Donna Summer, Barry Manilow, Melissa Manchester, Kenny Loggins, Frankie Valli, Frankie Avalon. I mean, all these acts. And then as the book developed, I started sharing about personal stuff, about my growing up and how miserable it had been for me as a child, and being homeless with my mom and all that. And when I put them all together in a line in the book, and I sent it off to a publisher, and to my surprise, because I didn't know that anyone would find it interesting, they said they would publish it, and the book just took off. I mean, it just took off. It has 57 5-star reviews on Amazon. It was the first week it was out, it was in the top 100. Then it was in the top 10 books, and it continues to sell. But the greatest thing that happened was right after New Year's, ABC News did book reviews, picked 5 of their favorite books of 2018, and my book was one of them.
Really?
Memoir of a Nobody. Yeah, and I was so, I have a friend, Rich Ross, and he's a comedy writer who I worked on a couple of shows with, but he's really good at photoshopping. So he'll take my book and he'll put it in Oprah's hand, or he'll put it in Gandhi's hand, or he'll put it on the Statue of Liberty. You know, so we have 30 or 40 of these funny pictures of people who have never seen my book holding my book. And when I saw the picture of my book on a shelf next to Eric Idle's and other famous authors, I thought it was Rich Ross, and I called him and I said, "Hey, that's really funny." He said, "What's really funny?" I said, the putting the book on ABC. He said, "I didn't put your book on ABC." And it was then I realized that ABC had actually chosen my book as one of the 5 top for 2018. I was just blown away. Just blown away.
That is amazing. Now, was it actually number 1, or where did it place about?
I don't know, because the book selling is so strange. It changes from day to day. You can be number 3 on Monday and number 303 on Tuesday, depending on how other books sell. So I never really, in the first week, I know it was in the top 10, the first week, and then it dropped down to like the first 100. But on Amazon, there are 8 million books on Amazon. My book is like in the top 1/3 of those 800.
Nice.
So 8 million, I mean. Yeah, it's really wonderful and so rewarding. You know, it's strange too, because people will write me and they'll say, "I read this story, I laughed so hard, I almost wet my pants." And so I'll go back and I'll read the story, and I'll read the story and I'll say, what did they find so funny? I don't understand.
I'm sure somebody could figure that out too. And of course, before we get to some of your favorite chapters and also people you've worked with as well too, any plans for a sequel?
Yes, there is a sequel out already. It's called 49.5 Shades of Bluestein. And it's available on lulu.com, Lulu. I haven't submitted that book to publishers yet. I self-published that one. And the third book, which is called Take My Prostate, Please, is being shopped around right now. So it's really rewarding. I have a great agent. My agent is Diane Nine out of Washington, D.C., and she has Cindy Williams and a bunch of other great political figures. So I was quite honored that she took me on as a client.
That is amazing. And what inspired you to get into comedy, and who would you consider biggest influence in comedy?
What was the first part of the question?
What got you inspired into comedy?
Oh, well, it's an interesting story. I am genetically funny. There's just no other way to put it. I just see the world differently. And I have been that way since I was 5 years old. You know, I just, when the family would be sitting around, I would be the one making everybody laugh. When I moved to California, I moved into one of these apartment buildings with a central swimming pool, and all the units would face the pool. And on my day off, because I was an assistant buyer at the May Company in Budget Ladies Handbags, on my day off, I'd be around the pool, and I'd be making people laugh. You know, not trying to make them laugh, but just telling a story, I would be making them laugh. One of the people who lived in the apartment building was Dave Madden, who was Reuben on the Partridge Family.
Amazing.
And he said to me, "Steve, you could do this professionally. And there's a new club that just opened up on the Strip that's called the Comedy Store, and you should go there." This was about late 1971.
Mm-hmm.
And the very next night, Dave Madden and Albert Hammond, who later went on to It Never Rains in Southern California and win an Emmy and be in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, the two of them took me to the Comedy Store. And I sat in the audience watching what was going on stage, and I thought, I can do that. And the next week, I went back and I got on stage, and Sammy Shore, who owned the club at the time before Mitzi had taken it over, Sammy Shore came over to me and he said, keep coming back, kid. You got the sound. You have the sound. And what he meant was, I have the sound of a comedian, the confidence and the rhythm and the timing of a comedian. And so I did come back, and I was there in the very beginning with, all the comedians. I think there were 40 of us maybe. Now there are 40,000 comedians. But back then it was Jay Leno and Elaine Boozler and Tom Dreesen and Jeff Altman and George Miller and Kip Adada and who else? Maureen Murphy, and we just lost last week. Dear woman, a wonderful comedian who I had first seen in Greenwich Village in 1968.
Oh my goodness!
I saw her before when I was just graduated from college. So yeah, and so I was on the ground floor of what later became the comedy boom. There was only one comedy club in the country, and that was the Comedy Store. Now, the Improv was in New York City, but it did music and comedy. Mm-hmm. The Comedy Store was specifically for comics, and that's where every comedy club in every city in every state in this country, and basically around the world now, because they're in Australia and England and Canada. That's where they got the format of how to run a club.
That is amazing. And what do you think about today's comics in today's society?
Oh, don't ask me that. I'm not, when we started, it was a craft. We worked on it. We honed it. I would work on a joke for a week, and I remember specifically working in a club and a waitress coming up to me and saying, I can't believe you've told that same joke every night with different punchline. And I said, yeah, I'm trying to find the right word to make, to get the biggest laugh. I mean, it was a craft. And today, my cleaning woman can do 3 minutes. Everybody thinks they're a comedian, and they do it not so much for the craft, but to be seen and to be discovered. But most of them they sound the same to me. They are all talking about the same subjects and in the same type of rhythm. In previous generations, we learned from people who learned how to do comedy by being in vaudeville, by being in movies, by going on the road, by working in the Catskills, wherever. And we learned from those people. Today's comics are learning from each other. Mm-hmm. And so everybody sounds the same.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, having YouTube and Netflix and everything like that. So do you think the outlets for comedy are much easier to access, or is it just simply like you think it's going to be like, cheap, refined, and whatever else, as you
it's like if you have a fine wine and you add water to it. You don't have the same body and the taste and the richness that you had if you had the concentrated wine. Well, with all these outlets, it's just everybody who has a camera is standing in front of the camera. I mean, I see people, everyone's in their car talking to the camera. Everyone is putting on makeup. Everybody thinks they're a star. And I don't think that there is the quality of acts that there were, let's say, 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think it's just become watered down.
Mm-hmm. And of course, people like you are trying to make a comeback and everything else. We'll get to some of the stars in your book in just a minute. Right now, you're listening to The Mike Wagner Show on the MikeWagnerShow.com with comedian Steve Bluestein, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all of your needs. If you're looking for a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960.